Hello, welcome to the Feel Love podcast. My name is Marta Justina, and I am the host of this living space. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. As you may or may not know, this podcast or YouTube channel is dedicated to discussing all things health, wellness, authentic living, self-love, true love, life. Now, as a spiritual teacher, ascension guide, trauma healer, energy healer, you name it. The titles are endless because it's not just one role that I play, there are many. But there definitely will be a more spiritualized perspective that I share when I share my teachings. So if that doesn't resonate with you whatsoever, this isn't for you. However, if it does or you're open to it, I welcome you to stay the course because if you haven't listened to my prior videos or podcasts, you know that my teachings are a bit of rants. They're very heart-centered, they're very authentic, not scripted, and so I just kind of go where my intuition leads me to. But for today's topic, we are discussing a few topics that we're just blending together. One of them being high perfectionists, high performers masked as perfectionists. That was a Freudian slip. But see how those merge, as well as wellness fads and influencers, particularly in the concept of artificiality and incongruence. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this first and foremost is because there's so much information being spread, particularly by influencers, and names that honestly really don't come to mind all that much. It's just figures. I don't subscribe to them, so I don't know them well enough to even recall their names. But I'm seeing a lot of people, women in particular, sharing advice about manifestation, about health and wellness, about self-love and healthy living, having a good routine. And it really scares me because from an energetic standpoint and my brand being authentic living, I can feel authenticity. And that means I can also feel inauthenticity. And a lot of these influencers are not aligned with their true self. They are still suffering from a lot of deep-rooted pain, and they just haven't done the shadow work. They just have not done the deep work required to be a true influencer. They're influential, but not in a good way. Not in a way that I would want my future potential babies to follow them, or any of my loved ones, or myself, or you. Now, of course, that's not to say that everything I say is 1,000,000% correct, because I'm human and I'm evolving alongside you. However, I tune into energy, and energy does not lie. And so I will let you know where it is, where someone isn't being honest based on the energy that they're bringing forth and where they are. And I can feel that in my body, in my vessel, and you can take this as you will. The reason why I wanted to focus on wellness fads shared by influencers from the perspective of high performers is because as a high performer, if you resonate with that title, I certainly do, you are going to be struggling with this need to always be better, and you're going to chase it wherever you can. There'll be this continuous drive for more, and anytime that a new gadget comes up, you want to buy it. Anytime that a new diet comes up, you want to follow it. Whenever you feel a little bit like you've lost track of life or of yourself, or you're feeling that need for more control, you're going to try to make drastic changes in your life. And anything drastic is not going to be good for you. Usually, the nervous system will just freak out and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is happening? We need to ease our way into this. This is way too much. So that's why I want to focus on this. And also, if you don't know, that's my clientele. I work with high performers, so athletes, doctors, lawyers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, healers. I work with the people who are high strung, driven, motivated, excited, multi-passionate, and it's beautiful to be all those things or to resonate with one of those categories, but it's also very exhausting, particularly if you don't heal the energy that drives all that. Because, as I mentioned earlier, the drive for a high performer that hasn't gone through really deep healing is a sense of worthlessness or not feeling enough or feeling too much or trying to people please. And that is exactly what we are here to dismantle, is the intention behind your actions that is inauthentic to who you truly are. So, on with that. In terms of wellness fads that I'm noticing more recently is lymphatic drainage. I think that's a beautiful one. I don't think it should be a fad. I think it should just be a well-known practice. Definitely one rooted in a lot of ancient medical practices like Chinese medicine, Ayurveda. I think it's so important. However, I get really nervous when I see influencers discussing things like lymphatic drainage because that is a scientifically proven method to help clear the lymphatic system. It's very healthy. So if you don't know, by the way, the lymphatic system helps us release toxins from our body. It exists just below the first surface of our skin. And when our lymphatic system is clogged, our digestive system is sluggish, which causes toxic buildup in our body. And that causes brain fog, that causes mental health issues, that causes poor blood circulation, low energy, fatigue, things like that. And where my issue is with influencers discussing things like lymphatic drainage and other scientifically proven techniques for health is it gives them credibility that they don't deserve. And I think it's important that they share these kinds of things because at least information like this is being shared, and that's awesome. But then on the flip side, when they share other pieces of information that they have no right to be talking about because they haven't done enough research. And that's not to say that we have to be an expert at everything or anything in order to share that advice with other people. But influencers in particular, who to me, their energy is very yucky. And that's not to say that they're not nice people. It's that they're inauthentic. And by yucky energy, I mean wounded, toxic, old, stagnant, and just unprocessed. It's energy that has been left unseen and not tended to, which eventually just starts to rot. It's like leaving fruits and vegetables on your countertop for years. It's going to start to smell. And the rest of the home can be really pretty on the outside, but if the inside is intended to, it doesn't really matter. And when influencers are sharing things like lymphatic drainage techniques, but they're wearing skin-tight clothes that clog the lymphatic system, it's kind of silly to me because you're just undoing all of the beautiful work that you've just put into yourself to help open up the lymphatic system, drain out all those toxins, to then put on really tight leggings of any brand that comes to mind. Stops all of that, which is why, again, I'm not here to say that I'm perfect or that I do everything right, but you will seldom see me, or ever really see me wear anything that is skin tight. Dresses, always loose, comfortable. I have no intention to try to suck anything in. All those like tummy sucking, cinching pants, I have no interest in. I don't like the way it feels on my body. I don't like the way it feels energetically. The material, the fabric of these clothing is also very toxic. Like polyester is a very low vibrational material as opposed to something like silk or cotton or wool. So subscribing to influencers and the things that they're sharing is great if we don't take it too far with listening to what they have to say. Another toxic sign of whether or not you want to subscribe to someone's teachings. Now, this one's really controversial because I've seen actually, a lot of people in the spiritual community also wear really tight clothing, leggings, and things like that. And I think I'm curious as to how deep they're into spirituality and energy and understanding of the correlation between the mind, the body, and the spirit together. Because spirituality without shadow work and true deep healing is not spirituality. It's just a fad. And it looks cool. It's not really what I'm here for. I'm here for authenticity, not what's popular. Sorry, we're gonna go back to the controversial topic, as I told you, there's a lot of rants here, is lip injections, fillers, Botox, facelifts, BBLs, all the things. Those are only the ones that I know of. If there's anything else, feel free to share in the comments below. I'm not very well versed on this uh, field, but that does not scream authenticity to me because self-love is, I mean, it shouldn't be earned. It's quite inherent to us. We are born loving ourselves. As babies, we love attention. We don't have to beg for it. We do nothing that is of any worth to society. As babies, we poop, we pee, we cry, we sleep. That's our day. And yet, babies are absolutely adored. You are loved just as you are, even when you're crying at 3 a.m. and your parents are tired, you are still adored. I realize that that is not the case for everyone, and for which I'm very sorry. If there is any part of you that hurts at that, what I just shared there, that you didn't have to fight for love as a baby or as a child, and there is still something within you that still needs to be seen and held and loved, you are welcome to check out my website. Information will be down below, and book a free discovery call with me to see if you and I are a good fit to help you work through all that stuff and come out on the other side as being exactly who you're meant to be in this lifetime. I am taking on one-to-one clients, so that is always open to you. Not always, but it is open to you right now. But as babies, we're not supposed to beg for love. And as we get older, we start to develop insecurities for different reasons and different kinds. Some people will grow insecure of their hair, of their forehead, their hips, their bum, their legs, you name it. In fact, that there are surgeries that for men to get taller that would essentially break their legs, I think at like the knee level, and then insert bone or something to then make them an inch or two taller is absolutely heartbreaking to me. Or the fact that there's like hair transplant stuff really makes me sad as well. Lip fillers, BBLs, I mean, we are a society that doesn't know how to love themselves and is masking these very toxic, and I mean like toxic to the mind, but toxic for the body, decisions as being perfectly acceptable, which is so beyond me because there are so many health issues that we don't yet know of that will start to arise because of this. And that's just speaking from like the physical level of the body, but the emotional and the psychological turmoil that people are going through when they decide to get some sort of surgery done is on another level. And my heart goes out to anyone like this because I remember when I was younger, I felt insecure about my ears. If you are not watching this on YouTube, they have bigger ears and they stick out. And it is, I think just like all Polish people have big ears, or most of them. I don't know. But I remember feeling really insecure about them, and like I would myself refer to them as like Bambi ears, Dumbo ears, because I wanted to make fun of myself first before someone else could, because it somehow cushioned the hurt that I was gonna get from someone else if they wanted to make fun of my ears. And I wanted to get a surgery done when I was about 15, 16. And I was in the office, and then I walked out. I was like, you know what? I don't care enough. And I don't know what came over me in that moment to decide I don't care, I'm gonna leave. No idea. But I'm beyond grateful that I didn't do that because I just would not want to live as who I'm not, you know? And if there's no medical issue relevant to the way that you look, there's no reason why we should change it. And it's beautiful to go to the gym and get stronger. And if dyeing your hair is fun for you, that's cool, right? But the way that I define self-love is if you do something at the expense of yourself and at the expense of your health, it's not self-love. That is an unhealed wound, and it is your way of seeking external validation to feel enough, to feel good enough, and that makes you feel beautiful. But beauty, peace, love, self-love is not found from without, it's found from within. And if you need to do something to please other people based on a comment, based on a fad, based on what other people are doing, you're never going to truly love yourself. And that is where, if you hear that noise in the background, if you're on Spotify or if you're watching, this is my puppy in the background. She's just not feeling very well, and that's why she's our little honorary guest in today's video. I won't subscribe to people who are very evidently struggling with their own self-concept while trying to teach other people, because being an influencer, there's this TikToker I watched once that he talks about like food for thought, and he always has fruit in his TikTok videos. Something cane. Um, he talks about the power of an influencer, and he said that he thinks that someone who's an influencer is someone who is doing what they're saying in their personal life. They practice what they preach, essentially. And they are authentic, because to be a public figure, to be a leader, is such a big responsibility. And it's a beautiful one that I think a lot of people are not honoring, because they're doing it for likes, they're doing it for the external validation, they're doing it for money, but they're harming a lot of people along the way. And this is also where shadow work is so important, is because they're not even aware of it. They don't know that they're hurting other people, because they're so enveloped in their own world that they cannot see beyond the veils of their wounds, that their unhealthy lifestyle choices are also spreading into other people. I think this is one of the reasons why I took so deeply to my own shadow work and to my own healing journey, is because I wanted to be someone that people would look up to, whether I'm off the clock or on the clock, so to speak. I wanted to be out in the street as just Marta, not necessarily Marta Justina, and have little girls look up to me and think, wow, you're so cool, you're so nice, I want to be just like you, or you're so pretty, or I love the way you dress. And it's just like, this is me. This is my authentic self that will show up authentically in every role that I take on. It just might be a different side, but it's always authentic. And that's because I've earned that title of public figure or influencer or authentic living counselor, spiritual guide, is because I did it. I did the stuff that requires me to show up and be a true leader, because it's terrifying. And it's not to say that influencers, and I'm not trying to like shame influencers here. I just want to open up your awareness, and even that of those people who do take on those roles, to know that take everything with a grain of salt, including your own perspective. Be willing to question yourself. Be willing to challenge the things that you think, the things that you say, and the things that you hear and read and watch. Because there's so much misinformation and so much propaganda and harm and just bad intention out there. I remember making a few decisions that were quite popular back in the day. I regret them, but I'm glad that I did them, because I saw what it was like to get pulled into a fad and trusting mass media information while completely neglecting my ancient inner knowing about things and the way that the body works on an ancient biological chemical level, and thinking that I could hijack fact with popular opinion, you know? And for high performers, it's so addicting to get on to the next thing. As high performers who are potentially seeking that external validation, following an influencer is really attractive, because they have that following, they have that reach and influence and power that a lot of high performers are looking for. And when we struggle with our own authenticity, we don't yet know how to offer original information, original presence and energy, for many reasons. One being, there's a lack of self-trust. You don't trust that you can make the right choices to lead people in good directions. There's a lack of self-trust in that you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, and you don't trust that you have the power to guide people and lead people and influence people and to gain and grow a beautiful following online or in person, whatever that might be. There's also this fear of being original, of being seen, of sharing things that are controversial, that will get you both positive and negative attention. Your nervous system simply has not developed this sense of safety and security to be judged, to receive pushback, to be ridiculed, to be challenged. Because if as a child you saying no or setting boundaries led to some sort of punishment, being seen against the grain is terrifying. And it is something that requires intentional practice and healing to overcome. It's not just going to happen because you want it, because you are only as fast, we can say, or successful as your nervous system feels safe. Have you ever heard of that saying, your team is as fast as your slowest player? We can think about all those players as parts of us. You are only as fast as your slowest, we can say, wounded part. Because there's going to be that one part that's going to hold you back and you're going to have to carry them and they're going to dictate the tempo. And you're going to want to skyrocket forward and they're going to say, "Nope, sorry. Arms, legs, all of it's broken. You need to carry me." That's exhausting. You're not going to go as fast as you want because you can't. And this is where intentional healing is necessary. If you want to be successful as a high performer, and I don't just mean in the financial or money aspect, but the personal and energetic and spiritual part of you that craves fulfillment has been neglected. And that's the part of you that wants to show up as a leader, as an influencer. Maybe they don't care about a following. Maybe they don't want to be in the public eye. Maybe they don't want to be at the top as the CEO or as this well-known, incredible athlete. Maybe they're tired. And you're tired and burnt out, particularly when you're doing something that doesn't align with you and when you're moving at a tempo that isn't authentic to you. You're trying to rush to be the first, because if you're not the first, you lose. You don't have to be perfect to be enough. And winning doesn't mean being better than everyone else. It means being happy with what you achieve, with who you are, with what you have. You can be content with a Sunday morning on a rocking chair looking at the beach, or you can be content with a Sunday morning gym sesh with your boo. Maybe you're reading the newspaper at a local coffee shop. Content looks different for all of us. But if you're chasing inauthenticity when it's showcased or masked as an underweight Pilates princess with lip filler, you're going to get more inauthenticity. Or maybe you are following the lead of a man with 2% body fat who doesn't enjoy his day-to-day but works out at the gym religiously because he still feels small as the strongest man there. Darlings, when you heal your energy, you transform your life because you won't need someone else to guide you in the direction of where you want to go. And that's actually what healers, true healers do, is we don't heal you. We just use that title, but we don't heal you. We create a container, a safe space for you to do the healing. We're the light to let you see the parts of you that have been hidden. We are the rearview mirror. We're all the mirror showing you those blind spots that you just can't find yourself, because that's what healing is. It's allowing yourself to be seen by others and knowing that where there was once shame, there's actually just unmet needs. But without healing your own energy, you cannot tell when someone else's is off. Because a dysregulated nervous system feels comfortable in the presence of another dysregulated nervous system. If you're used to chaos, chaos feels great and calm feels dangerous. But when you have a regulated nervous system and you've established a sense of inner safety, someone who hasn't feels like a threat, but this time, rightfully so. So I think I'll end off here because I can go on forever, and there will probably be a part two of this as more rants come up. If you are a high performer, or if you resonate with the concept of being a perfectionist and a people pleaser, or anything that I discussed today, please do share in the comments below. If you feel further called to book a one-to-one discovery call with me, I'd love that. And if there's anything that I've shared that you want to challenge or question or discuss, comments are open to that too. I'm here to learn with you. I'm here to remind you that you are everything. You are the universe in human form, full of love. But at the very least, if you don't yet remember it, I hope that during this rant, I was able to help you feel the love. I'll talk to you soon. Have a lovely day.